Erica쇼. Happy Lunar New Year. I'm back with another episode. And today I have two interviewees, which is a first for me, so I'm very excited. And Arpit and Sidd are co-founders of DeFiDollar. Welcome to the show and hello.
Hi, Erika. Thanks for having us. Yeah, excited to be here. Looking forward to having a great time.
Yeah, been quite a while, right? We've been really excited to come here and speak to Erika. Been fans of CryptoSoul for a long time as well, so couldn't be more excited.
Thank you so much, and I'm very excited to hear some diverse content today. So I'm going to learn a lot and have a lot of insights from you guys. So before we go in directly, could you briefly introduce yourselves and what you're working on currently?
Sure. So I can start. I got into blockchain space in about 2018. My first job in blockchain, like real serious work, was with Matic Network in 2019. So yeah, I was doing a lot of tech there, building the validator nodes, writing smart contracts, and all of that. And then sometime last year, in fact, in May 2020, as a part of one of the ETH Global Hackathons, we were just thinking about, what is that we want to build, and DeFiDollar is something that started back then. And then, yeah, we launched mainnet in August last year, and it has been very exciting since then.
Sidd?
Yeah, I think we share pretty similar journeys in that sense, right? Because we met at Matic, and we were like friends much before we even started to do something together, right? That's something that laid the foundation for DeFiDollar. But yeah, I used to take care of the ecosystem growth at Matic Network. That was really the time when a lot of we were actually building all throughout the crypto winter. I think right now what you see is a product of all the hard work that went in during that time. But yes, it's been quite a experience, right? Launching our own venture, building through a totally different season, right? What people call a bull market at the moment, and we're very excited, right, to be partnering with projects who are actually spearheading more and more innovations in the space and trying to push the boundaries for new meta stablecoin. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're part of the Matic Mafia, as they call it. Matic is a very strong team, so everyone I think knows about Matic, and it's great that you guys pivoted and made a new project of your own. Before crypto, right? I mean, you guys, I joined in 2017, but before crypto, what did you work on previously? What's your background? And, I always ask my interviewees, how did you get into the crypto space, the rabbit hole, basically?
So I have a less exciting sort of background. Probably I'll start and Arpit can finish on a high.
Okay.
I used to be a data scientist, right, or data analyst, as more people might call it. Was working with pharmaceutical and media houses before that. What got me into crypto was one of my friends who introduced me to Ethereum. And thankfully, I got sucked into the rabbit hole before that bull run started, right? So it was partially trading, as it has been for a lot of people. So I came for the tech later on. And as Arpit said, right, although I'm on the business side of things, right, but I've been a hackathon buff just to go and interact with a lot of people and see what all new things are getting built. So ETH India was one of my starting points in the whole Ethereum ecosystem and crypto, right, where I met the Matic team and we kind of hit it off and decided to work together. So yeah, that's something that I was doing before crypto.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, I was a core backend engineer writing, high throughput APIs. So I worked at Google and another YC startup. And then when I was there, my flatmate used to work in basically the company that is the Stripe for India. So basically they do payments, right?
Wow.
So yeah. So one of the first crypto exchanges that started in India, it was called CoinX. His company was doing payments for them, right? My flatmate's company. So that's how he introduced me to it. He told me that there's this nice project that we are working with. You should, put some money in it. That's how it started. But then in a couple of months, I realized that, blockchains are about much more. And then I think my technical curiosity really drove me into it. So I quit my job and then, dived into it.
Yeah, everyone's story is very interesting, and it can be quite random, but you guys have definitely a very, a consistent track record. I mean, in contrast to me, which is, I'm from policy background, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, you mentioned about ETH India, and I remember that ETH India was a very big success. Like, I remember there was so much positive feedback. A lot of great projects came out of it, such as yours. Could you tell me more about the experience and what you learned from it? And, just a basic experience, because I wasn't there, but I really hope that I was there. So could you share more about, your insights?
Sure. So I think for me, right, I have not been on the building side of things, but still, right, I think it's a great experience for people to come and just interact with the leaders in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? So I would not just encourage people who can code. There are a lot of other things that you can still do at a hackathon or probably at the ETH global event, right, or ETH India. Just interact with people and get to know all of these exciting technologies that are getting built. So ETH India, sadly, is one of the only major events that happens in India. We would love to see more such hackathons in person, right, on the Ethereum track itself. But that gives you such an opportunity to just get to know the ecosystem, right? And people are so inclusive in the Ethereum community that you can start contributing right away in multiple capacities, whatever your strong points are, right? Like it can be design, it can be just content, like how I started, or it can be even like product design, right? Whatever your strong suit is.
Yeah. Anything to add?
Yeah, for me, I the first one that I participated in was ETH India 18. I think that was also the first one that happened.
Yeah.
So that was actually my first hackathon ever. So
Oh.
that was very exciting. Yeah. And then in 2019, we ended up participating as a sponsor because Matic was sponsoring the event and we were a part of the team. So, like being on the other side, interacting with the developers, helping them brainstorm. So that was also very interesting. Last year it didn't happen. Our project didn't really come out of ETH India because ETH India was a little bit back, right? Like 18 and 19. Our project came out of the virtual hackathon that ETH Global was doing last year. It's called Hack Money. But yeah, like ETH India was super interesting in terms of the community and the talent that you get to see. Yeah.
Wow, I bet. I think India has a lot of engineering talent, and also from other fields as well. I mean, a lot of human resources. So, I'm very excited to check out the next one. But we'll talk more about the Indian landscape a little bit later, and we'll talk about your project. So, what's your story in building DeFiDollar? Like, where did the name come from? How did you brainstorm about it? And just your, founding story.
I can take that one.
Yeah.
So back in May, when we were just like, we started with, okay, there's something that we want to build for the hackathon, right? And then we were just like keeping our eyes and ears open, right? Like, what do people really need? So around that time, there was a lot of discussion about DAI never being on its peg. So like back then, people weren't really used to that fact, DAI always trading at a premium. And then also around the time when USDC blacklisted the first address. So the concerns about like centralization were very tangible at that point. So then we saw that stablecoin market cap keeps increasing. So there's definitely demand, but there's clearly not a single winner, right? So liquidity is fragmented, and so we thought, how do you diversify risk? What happens if Tether goes to zero? The simplest way of diversifying risk is simply just to invest in a basket or an index, which is doable. So we wanted to like package it into a good UX, which means that our idea was to simply keep existing stablecoins in a basket, make an index out of them, and then the the currency that we mint, which represents an ownership in this basket, is also a stablecoin. It is what we thought we want to build, and the idea was to limit the downsides of each of the components of the stablecoins while also capitalizing on their upsides. Right, one particular upside could be a high yield on a particular lending platform like Aave or Compound, right? And downside could be volatility in a stablecoin. So what if we could make an attempt at limiting the downsides while also taking hold of their upsides? So we thought that like let's try this experiment. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, that's the basic idea.
Oh.
The key thing, right, that we wanted to solve for was the experience as well, right? So you look at stable coins, even a particular geography, physical geography, right, can have like multiple variants of a stable coin in circulation, right? I think Terra is pretty popular in Korea, right? The rest of the world is like USDT rules the roost, right? But more and more of these are coming up, right? And that's why we wanted to have something that helps the regular crypto user, right? Or probably some people who are discovering the ecosystem decide, right? Like, okay, this is the one that I want to opt for. So instead of them understanding 10, 15 different stable coins and comparing their pros and cons, what they can do is go for an index, which is more stable and more tolerant to volatility that comes with, right? Because you see decentralized stable coins usually not at their peg, right? We're kind of more inclined towards making the protocol decentralized, but at the same time, you can't compromise on the user's experience of probably not losing 5% of their capital overnight, right? So that's why we wanted to have an index which is stable and also helps users participate in DeFi, right, and earn native yields on top of it, right? So that's something that's also baked into the ecosystem. So as Arpit usually tells me, right, like we're optimizing for two things. One is stability and one is also for the yield, right? So it's sort of tinkering with these two components. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the DUSD, right? That's your token. And what can you elaborate more? Like, can you maybe give an example? Like, what would be the role of it? And if you hold it, what would happen to it? Like, can you give us like a run through of when getting used to the platform, basically? Can you show an example?
Sure. So basically, let's say you hold any of these stable coins at this moment, right? USDT, DAI, USDC, or TUSD, right? So what you can do is you can just go to the DeFiDollar app and select which stablecoin you would want to mint DUSD with, right? And as you can select all four, you can select a single one of them. You can also select some of the derivative tokens, right? Like YUSD. But for ease of explanation, I think just let's limit this to let's say USDT, right? So once you deposit USDT, our smart contract platform takes care of it, right? And what you get as a resultant is DUSD, right? Now this DUSD is currently based on Curve LP tokens, right? So you're getting exposed to a range of tokens and not just holding USDT, right? You now hold, when you hold DUSD, you hold some of USDT, some of DAI, some of USDC, and some of TUSD, right? So that's essentially broadly diversifying your risk. Currently, we support the Curve LP pools, but slowly we're adding other protocols as well. And as you see the protocol move forward, there will be other peaks, right? We like to call these liquidity pools as peaks. So the more progress that we make, we'll keep adding more peaks and trying to diversify what tokens or what stable coins are in the index.
Oh, the index. Arpit, do you want to elaborate more on that, or do you want to add some more information?
Yeah, just like throwing some more light on it. So user comes with vanilla stablecoins. Our smart contracts accept that, put that into Curve, and basically DUSD is backed by those Curve LP tokens. And then obviously to optimize the yield part. So this is the diversification part. And then to optimize the yield part as well, there's some yield coming from the Curve pools because there's trading activity and all of that, right? But then we go a step ahead and put these Curve pool tokens into Yearn vaults, which give us additional yield, right? And all of that yield is routed to what we call our savings product, right? And that is basically no impermanent loss stablecoin only pool, where people just like deposit stablecoins and get yield on it. So all of that is routed to people who are in the savings, in the savings pool. And I think we didn't answer that before. You also asked that what was the significance of this name DeFiDollar, right? Mm-hmm. So the most important thing there is we think DeFi is very hard for a normal user. So we want to be the team that builds products to, which makes it easy for people to DeFi, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea is very hard for people to understand what Curve is, what a Yearn vault is, but then they do understand getting yield on a bank account, on USD. So for them, our contracts are taking care of everything DeFi, which means curve, yearn, etc. And for the user experience, it's a nice experience. They're simply getting yield on stable coins. So like that is the vision behind the name, that it's a dollar, but it represents everything DeFi. Yeah.
So it's kind of like an indirect connection to the real, I guess, like the DeFi products, I guess. Like maybe it's like an easy gateway. Maybe I should say like that. Easy
exactly.
gateway.
So exactly. Options can be hard to understand for the user, right? But we are building a product called Options Coin, where users can actually borrow against their put option positions. But then a user wouldn't have to know what is happening behind the scenes. So we are building that right now. So a user comes in, they put in ETH collateral, and underlying contracts, what they do is they buy a put option and the user gets a loan on that. So it's just like, it's going to be super easy for the user. Yeah. So basically that.
Also, you're building that currently. When are you planning to release it?
We are releasing the testnet sometime in early March. First 2 weeks, sometime.
It's coming soon. Yeah. You're in building mode right now, I guess, despite this bull run.
Totally.
Yeah. A lot of things are coming. And as Arpit said, right, the key to making DeFi more inclusive, right? I think that's a very hot topic on Twitter as well and in other communities, is to actually make it useful, right, for a normal user to come in, right? So DeFi is good, right? But my non-crypto, I do have non-crypto friends, so some of them will not understand all of these things, right? So
absolutely,
the best thing to do is to tell them, okay, you're getting native interest, which the savings account also represents, right? You just deposit like you would deposit in any other savings account, and then you see your assets go up in value, right? Like you can see that in real time. So that's something that is encapsulating all of the complexities of DeFi away and just giving you a simple savings account, which is very much what we have in India or what we have in any other part of the world, right? Where investors want to make like a safe, stable return on their assets, right? So yeah, that's the key component behind whatever we do at DeFiDollar as well, to remove the DeFi complexities and allow people to just discover something that they're comfortable with that allows easier onboarding.
Yeah,
that's something that we
definitely. That's the end goal of every product, I think. Like you see in the forefront, you don't really notice that is, everything complicated is underneath there. You basically see the simple UI UX and then just have fun with it. And I think that's the goal of every DeFi service out there. And also even for the entire blockchain industry. So it's great that you guys are, concentrating a lot on that. And where did you guys get like attraction from? Like, did you mainly get attraction from the Indian in the India scene or other countries as well? Have you like kind of looked at the traffic at all?
So we have, but it's we get traffic from everywhere, right? I think it's majorly not from India at this moment. But that being said, we have some decent volume coming in from India, so from some people that we probably know personally, because most of these folks keep messaging you and trying to understand the product better, right? So that's a proxy I'm using for where our users are from. But at the same time, right, I think the people, I can tell you more about the profile of the people that are using DeFiDollar right now rather than the geography part. So these people are, they're more aware of the risks, right? And they're more probably broadly understanding the DeFi ecosystem as well, right? Because what they want to do is hedge their risk and probably be a part of a protocol or let's say even a savings account, right? That is not exposing them to something like impermanent loss, right? So that is somewhere that is probably not people who want 100x or even 10x, right? Or even 1000 APY on their returns. People who understand, okay, that this is a protocol which is audited. This is a protocol that is supported by non-anonymous devs, right? And have a serious like track record in shipping, and all of these protocol parameters which are on chain are also shared frequently with the community, right? So there's a high level of transparency, and at the same point in time, there is a lot of exciting things, right? Like the option coin that Arpit spoke about. We have something to do with a tokenized BTC, which is upcoming as well. So we're doing a lot of other things. So we're not a plain vanilla like meta stablecoin, right? We kind of think of ourselves as more of a stablecoin labs, and nothing in the stablecoin realm is outside of our scope. So yeah, there are a lot of exciting things that we're doing, and our community represents the same, right? So all of these ideas that we have, we kind of keep discussing them on Discord and Telegram, right? With some of our key power users sometimes who message us, and sometimes in the group as well. So we've seen community participating from all parts of the globe, right? And actually, especially in India, we're not that well known because we've not done a lot of this outbound marketing, starting what usually people do. So I think, yeah, I think your podcast is again one of those efforts to help us get the word out, right? Spread more awareness in the community. Incidentally, we have like a Korean Medium page as well, right? Which has all of these translations. So that helps because we know how excited the Korean community is, right, about such kind of products, and we would definitely want to spread more awareness there as well.
Yeah, I will post the Korean Medium page link on the bottom of the interview video so that people can take a look at it and see what exciting things you're building. And I think I also agree that marketing does play a big part in getting the word out. And I think like there are pros and cons about it, right? And the right way to do it. What is the right way to do it? It's also a question that I always have as well. But yeah, you guys are, I think building is the most important part for now. And then, that'll probably get delivered some way or the other. So that's great. Arpit, anything to add on your end or?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So you kind of shared a lot of the upcoming milestones in the project, but can you, is there anything else that you want to share that you're, looking forward to in the near future? What are some exciting things that you want to share with us?
Right, I can take that one.
Okay.
So yeah, I did mention options coin briefly. I just explain that again. Yeah. So on Maker, let's say ETH is at $1,000 or 2,000 actually. You go to Maker, you can borrow about $1,200, right? $1,300 on $2,000 ETH, right? But then basically it's not very capital efficient because you can only borrow like 66% of your thing, right? Your collateral. What we're trying to do is like to take it a step ahead, and then we would borrow. We would let the user borrow even like $1,999 on 2,000 ETH, right? Now, how do you make that happen? Because ETH is volatile and it can fall anytime. So how we envision to do it is at the same time when the user is putting collateral, they would also be paying a premium to buy a put option. Okay. So the put option price the user can select, depends on their risk appetite. What is the premium? Is it too high? Is it too low? Right. So user could choose any strike price. Could be 1,500, could be 1,200, or could be 1,900, right? Based on their risk appetite and the premium that they have to pay. They pay that premium, they put ETH collateral, right? Now, their collateral plus the put option. So I have one ETH, and then I have one put option, and then the strike price is at 1,900, right? So basically, I have the right to sell this one ETH for $1,900, right? Which basically guarantees my collateral. So user can borrow $1,900 from the protocol, and if it increases, then everybody wins. They can pay back their loan when they want to. But if ETH falls below their strike price, then we simply sell their ETH, right? And the protocol recovers their money. Now, the things that are better than Maker here is it's more capital efficient because it's up to the user how much they want to borrow. Second is the liquidation risk is much lesser. So in Maker, liquidations need to happen in a certain amount of time, right? Because if ETH falls further than that, then you have a March 12th kind of a black swan scenario where the protocol goes in a deficit. But with the put option, that guarantee is guaranteed, basically the right to sell. So even if ETH goes to zero, and only when the gas prices are back to normal, we can perform the liquidation, and then still the protocol can still recover the money. So we are doing more user research on that, and trying to see if users would really like to use it, and also like developing it on the side. So let's see how that goes. That is one thing. One exciting thing that we are working on is BTC coin index with Badger. So basically, Badger has sucked up all the BTC pool liquidities, right? It's sitting in all of their vaults, right? Yeah. And that also leads to fragmentation. So there are like three BTC curve pools for which they have vaults. But then right now the liquidity is fragmented over those three vaults, right? So we are actually building an BTC index with them. And the index will be backed by their BTC vaults, which they call sets, right? So it will be backed by that. It's basically interest-bearing BTC. You hold that, you are earning interest from all of the three vaults, which have like yearn-like strategies running on them. And then you also have this tokenized interest-bearing BTC, which keeps increasing in value. And the plan is to like actually evangelize it to be the default BTC that people want to hold on Ethereum, right? Powered by Badger, because that's where the BTC community is anyway. So we are very excited about that project. Yeah, and one more thing, it's called the stability module, which is basically a new mechanism that we are working on, which guarantees stability of our USD coin even more. So yeah, that would have synthetics like staking, rewards, incentives, and all of that. So like very exciting time, very exciting next 3 months.
Oh yeah, it's very an abstract, 3 months of building process. So looking forward to more updates, and you guys should definitely check out all their SNS and Twitter basically to kind of like get the latest updates. And that's, I think, yeah, very exciting. And I wish you the best of luck and what you're building. And before we go, I have a question that's very has been the top of my interest, which is like what's happening in India right now. I mean, I've never been, so I'm always curious about what the landscape is like in India crypto space. And I know the Korea scene, but I don't know much about India. What projects and players out there are active in the scene? And could you kind of give a brief intro of what's happening over there?
Okay, sure. So I think, Erica, what's happening is there is a lot of FUD, right? Regarding India, because every time there is something that the government does, right, people instead of trying to understand what actually is happening, they just try to scare people because everyone wants to just buy lower, right? and that's not just the Indian folks doing it, it's like the whole sort of this mafia that goes ahead and spreads this sort of disinformation. So I think what people need to understand is even at this moment, crypto is not illegal per se in India, right? Or what people are believing it to be. For a brief period, it was actually prohibited by the government for the banks to directly deal with cryptocurrency exchanges. But that ban was lifted, right? Like I think last year or before, just before that, right? Like so,
yes,
that is not the case anymore. And I think a lot of key projects are building out of India, right? Like I think everyone has heard of Matic, Instadapp, right? Like these teams are pretty widely acclaimed, and they've built things that the whole ecosystem is currently using, right? Like I wouldn't say DeFiDollar is there yet, but yeah, we're building towards it, right? And definitely want to contribute to the Indian ecosystem as well. So the whole thing is we've got this diverse and very energetic bunch of people, right? So the shirt that I'm wearing, right, I think it's from DeFiDollar, right? So that's the team that organizes these hackathons, right? And ETH India as well in India. And they've got like, I'm not sure what's the last number that I heard, but I think around more than 40 to 50,000 students, right? Or student developers who come and participate in these hackathons, right? Based on Ethereum and other upcoming technologies, right? So that is just a very small subset which captures the kind of immense talent that is there in India, right? So the key thing that we need to understand is it is completely the story of India, right? And Asia is not, people used to say that it is the future. It is the present of crypto, right? I can very easily say that. A lot of brilliant projects are based out of Asia or even in India, right? And these people are just starting to pick up, right? Like we can say that probably the last, let's say 3 to 4 years were dominated by the Western world, right? But I think Asia has taken, or Asia, even specifically India has taken the world by storm, right? The crypto ecosystem by storm. And there are so many projects, right? So many brilliant founders, so many talented devs coming out of the ecosystem that it's hard to even name projects, right? We have partnered with some of them like Frontier. Hard to take names, right? Because I'll be missing out on so many of them, right? But at the end of the day, the crux of the matter is that development is not going to stop. regulation is still a little bit of a gray area in the sense people are not really sure what the future holds. I'm pretty sure the government or the responsible officials are considering what are the ways to constructively implement regulations and at the same time boost development or boost entrepreneurship in the crypto ecosystem, right? But it's not easy, right? Like it's not easy to understand DeFi. I think it's not. It's certainly very tough to understand all the nuances of crypto to the guys who are in power or who are probably subject to making these things happen, right? So I think you've worked in policy, Erika. You've mentioned that, right? It's a very complex thing, and for a complex country or very diverse country like India, I think it's even difficult, right? People don't want to stifle innovation. We're very tech agile, right? I think our payment network, as Arpit mentioned, right? UPI, I think it's much better than anything that the West has currently, right? So there are a lot of examples in which we've provided better products or faster digitalization than anywhere in the world. And I think the crypto growth story will be pioneered when people look back, right, by Indian developers or probably the Southeast Asian ecosystem, right? There's no doubt about that. Just don't spread any FUD that crypto is illegal. Me and Arpit want to stay back in India and keep building. But yeah, I think the whole point is that there's a very vibrant developer ecosystem, and I think if anyone in crypto is not paying attention to India, I think it is about time that you start doing so. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And that message is very powerful. And I think it's the same vibe in South Korea back in 2017 when, you know, the ministry just like blurted out, like, we're going to ban crypto exchanges. And that's like, you know, spread this huge FUD, right? I mean, I think, but in the end, we're in the, you know, way of taxation, regulation in a healthier way. So I think, you know, it's definitely in the good direction, but I think the government just like, I think, scared in a way, I mean, because of the crypto boom. And I think it's just one step towards regulation. That's what I would just say. So yeah, thank you for your insight, because like, I think a lot of people wanted to hear what you guys think on your end. So I'm thankful that you guys commented on that. Thanks so much. And any last words? I think, you know, we would like to hear more in the future, but like, you know, thank you so much for all the new project that's coming out. And, you know, I think a lot of people are interested in India. So, I mean, I would love updates on that in the near future as well. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Erika. A lot of exciting things coming up for DeFiDollar. So guys, stay tuned. And yeah, I think just happy to share the stage with you, and let's look forward to more exciting things coming out of India and from DeFiDollar as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erika, for having us. Like, you know, yeah, basically lots of exciting stuff, and not just that we have planned. As Siddharth mentioned, we think of ourselves as stablecoin labs. So we're gonna, you know, think of interesting stuff to suit the fancy, you know,
definitely
to suit the curiosity of DeFi folks.
Definitely. I'd love to visit India after this COVID, you know, craze is over, and we can just do something exciting there as well. So thank you so much.
Please come down to Bangalore and we can have like a big bash for you. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.